Hey YouTube, I'm Mr. Terry, a high school history teacher. Welcome back to another History Teacher Reacts video. Alright, we're here for part 2, or the second half, of Oversimplified's video on the Pig War. If you did not see part 1, make sure you check that out. But we're going to watch the second half here now. It's been a lot of fun to hear about this border dispute between the United States and Great Britain. Now, where we left off was a pig was just shot. And it sounds like it's about to get pretty bad. We'll see. Anyway, the original video link is down below. Once again, make sure you're supporting Oversimplified. They're awesome. And if you like Oversimplified, I've covered and reacted to basically all of their videos. You can check those out in my playlist too. And with that, let's go ahead and hop back into the video.
After taking a second to calm down, he felt bad about murdering Griffin's prized boar.
Aww.
So he went to him and said, "Hey man, look, I kinda just killed your pig. It was eating my potatoes again, and I don't know, man.
Oh no.
I kind of just killed your pig. Killed your pig. Killed your pig."
He's gonna lose it. Salutes for the pig.
You swine! No, the swine is the one I killed. I'm Lyman. Griffin demanded Lyman pay $100 for the loss of the pig, an outrageous sum at the time. Obviously, Lyman refused, threatening to shoot any more animals that dared enter his property, even threatening to shoot Griffin himself. When Griffin complained to James Douglas, British officials went and confronted the pig killer. Again, they insisted he pay up, and if he didn't, Lyman claimed they threatened to arrest him and take him back to Victoria. British officials arresting an American on American soil and trying him under British law? Now that's controversial. And it's a controversy that attracted the attention of an American general in charge of the Department of Oregon, one William S. Harney. This guy, General Harney, had a reputation. He's the kind of guy who invades Mexico without orders, wasting valuable resources and creating an embarrassing situation for everyone involved. He's the kind of guy who has one of his own men arrested for writing the wrong header on a report. He's the kind of guy who finds a dog digging up his yard and then chases it for 1.5 miles just to give it a beating. He hated superiors, hated being told what to do,
He's one of those guys.
Had been court-martialed 4 times for disobeying orders. Contemporaries described him as
and why is this guy still around?
an imbecile, all matter and no mind, an arrogant humbug, and a laughingstock. Like I said, General Harney had a reputation. He hated the British and was out for any opportunity to earn personal glory for himself. By some accounts, he even wanted to become president. And so, in July 1859, when he happened to visit San Juan Island, and he learned of the plight of the Americans living there, the shooting of a pig, and the British threat to arrest Lyman Cutler, General Harney went into scheme mode. Hey yo, Captain Pickett. Yes sir, listen carefully. I need you to go pick up some flowers and bring them to my place later. I've got a plan. Here I am, sir. What's the plan? Pickett, you and I are going to start a war. What do you mean, sir? Okay, listen up. An American man shoots a worthless pig on San Juan Island, and the British threaten to arrest him. Outrageous, but we can use it. We get the settlers there to send us a petition saying they need American troops for protection. That's when you go with your men and occupy the island. The British will find American troops on an island they consider theirs so offensive, they won't hesitate to blow you to smithereens. Then, it's war. We bring in reinforcements and we fight back. I'll write to Washington, D.C., letting them know what's happening. But here's the kicker. My letter will take 6 whole weeks to get there, before the government even gets a chance to respond, telling me I'm an idiot and ordering me to cease fire. The island.
Just think how logistically, how tough things were back then to do that sort of thing. You know, the Civil War, which, by the way, is going to start breaking out in about a year after this. 1860 presidential election's about to happen. Helped infrastructure with more railroads, especially more telegraph lines. But that stuff was not as prevalent out here in the Northwest, which is still, you know, somewhat unorganized territory. So yeah, logistical things like communication during warfare, I think we underestimate in the modern sense how that is. And look how far away this is from the nation's capital. It's as far away as possible. So yeah, that could be used to your advantage or your disadvantage.
Will be ours. Hell, we could even invade Vancouver Island or British Columbia. It's foolproof. Wow, very impressive, sir. But I gotta ask, why? Well, I'll level with you,
'Cause
Pickett. Historians still contest exactly what it is I'm trying to do here. It's possible I'm trying to expand America's territory. Maybe I'm trying to play the hero so I can become president. Some have even
Elections next
suggested
year.
that since I'm a slave-owning Southerner, I may be trying to create a diversion to help the South secede in the upcoming Civil War. But if there's one thing that almost everyone can agree on, it's that I'm an idiot. I see. But hold on. What you
all
tell me to
those
bring
things,
flowers for? Because, Pickett, they're pretty and I like them! There are also historians who believe that Harney and Pickett had no secret plan at all, and were not scheming masterminds, but simply hot-headed buffoons, genuinely outraged at the audacity of the British, and trying to protect American citizens. But the fact of the matter is, Pickett took the very controversial and extremely provocative act of landing American troops on disputed territory. He set up his camp in a very
And that's a
exposed
first, right? I mean, that's a first here. It's been settlers and things, but like an official standing army there, you know, that can definitely be something that seems provocative.
position and erected a very provocative sign proclaiming that only American laws applied on the island. It was almost like he was asking to be fired upon.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah,
again,
yeah.
maybe he was just an idiot.
He wants-
When a
he
British
wants a war.
official sent to the island to get rid of the unruly American settlers now saw that there were American troops, he demanded they leave. He was obviously told to go suck an egg. When Douglas found out, he was enraged. To him, the American landing constituted an invasion. Harney sent a report back to the War Department in DC, justifying his actions with exaggerated claims of British villainy. But he knew it would take 6 weeks to get there, and another 6 weeks for their reply to come back. For now, the situation was entirely in the hands of local military and government officials, and the ball was in the British court. Would the temperamental Governor Douglas and the powerful British Navy respond to the American provocation with force? Were Britain and America really about to go to war over the shooting of a pig? Well, if one man were to have his way, it's entirely possible they would. James Douglas had already had Americans force him out of Oregon. They had threatened his position in Victoria during the gold rush. Now they had invaded his island, and he had had it. It was time to turn to the Royal Navy. You, Captain Hornby, go to the island and prevent any more Americans from landing. And take this magistrate with you to arrest Captain Pickett. Use force if necessary. Just don't do anything to start a war. Wait, you want me to use force but not start a war? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that too much to ask?
It's like you can't have it both ways. You're getting this kind of stuff. It's like those kind of orders are just to try to protect those giving the orders. That then if something bad happens, they can say, "No, that's not what I told him to do." But then you also are telling him to do that because you just want to have your hands clean of that sort of thing.
Princess! When Captain Hornby got to the island and saw that the American force there was even larger than expected, his concern grew. He sent word back to Douglas, who in response ordered even more ships to the island. And at this point, the naval officers were like, "Hey man, let's talk." They were concerned Douglas's escalation was leading them to war, and they convinced him it probably wasn't a terribly good idea to just go up to an American military captain with his armed men and say, "Hey bucko, you're under arrest. Please don't shoot me." Douglas gave in. To prevent any hostilities, he canceled all orders and told the Navy, for now, to simply keep an eye on the Americans. He did send one more ship for good measure. Captain Pickett, now seeing the British ships with their guns aimed directly at his exposed camp, said, "See, Jeff? Look at that. We're about to get blown to bits, all according to plan."
Right.
Hang on. Oh crap, Jeff, we're about to get blown to bits! Run! Pickett hastily moved his camp from its very exposed position to another position, which, as it happened, was also very exposed. It probably won't surprise you to learn Pickett came dead last in his graduating class.
Hey.
Nearby American and British officials began showing up to ask Pickett what the heck he was even doing. Then, a bunch of tourists showed up, because a major war breaking out in their doorstep was the single most exciting thing to ever happen in any of their miserable frontier lives.
Isn't it crazy when you hear about? You ever heard about those stories? Like in American history, they have these with like the Civil War and and like Revolutionary War, where like there would be spectators go up on some hill or some roof, and they would watch the war. Like, what the heck? I mean, it was obviously a different time, and it seemed like there's a lot of these unwritten rules about actually engaging in conflict, and you fight the soldiers on soldiers and not the civilians. But that just like blows my mind. Can you imagine that happening in the modern day?
Lives. One Charles Griffin was particularly unhappy. First, his pig had been shot. Now his sheep pastures were being trampled by soldiers and tourists alike. He complained to Governor Douglas, who was still pretty upset about the whole thing. Douglas felt British honor itself was at stake, so he decided that if American forces were allowed to be on the island, well then by golly, the British should be there too. It would be
I won't
joint
escalate it.
military occupation. Upon hearing
Those always work well, right? The joint military occupations of places. That works well.
Douglas's new plan to land British troops on the island, Captain Hornby decided to go speak with Pickett in person. After informing him of the plan, Pickett replied that if they dared land, he would open fire. So there they were. The British had orders to land. The Americans had orders to prevent their landing. This was it. War. Over a small island in the middle of nowhere. Over a pig and some potatoes. Over whether the US-Canada border looked like this or like this. It was stupid. Hold on. This is stupid. To heck with it. I'm not landing those troops. I'm not gonna be the one who starts a war. The captain decided not to follow Douglas's order. And good thing he didn't, because pretty soon after that, the leading British admiral in the entire Pacific region showed up. Rear Admiral Baines outranked Governor Douglas. When he heard of everything that had been going on, he was stunned. But
Yeah,
when he
he's
heard
like,
that
you're all idiots. These islands right here we're at, like this is what we're potentially fighting for.
Hornby had refused Douglas's plan to land troops, Baines could have kissed him. Whether he did or not, history doesn't tell.
We need evidence.
But I like to think they did. The Rear Admiral canceled all of Douglas's orders and instead pursued a policy of not interfering with the Americans until he could contact the British government. The Americans, not knowing the British no longer intended to land, had sent reinforcements and began fortifying. But even still, the British Navy did nothing. And finally, when word made it across the planet, informing the two governments of the ongoing crisis, everyone was shocked. Holy crap! Harney landed troops on disputed territory? Man, I hope the British don't find out about this. Buchanan? Oh crap! The British! Why are we getting reports of American troops on San Juan Island? Whoa. I don't know, man. Nothing to do with me. But you're the president. What? Breckenridge? Am I the president? Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a problem. It looks like the southern states are considering seceding, and we're headed for the biggest crisis in the history of the nation.
He's gonna run for
And
president
it's
too.
your job to fix it, sir. Sir? Oh no.
Go away.
Not the curtain again, Mr. President.
I'm not here.
Buchanan. Back in the Pacific Northwest, Harney was beginning
look
to
at me.
realize the government may not be terribly
Leave me
impressed
alone.
with his reckless actions. So he began firing off even more aggressive letters, justifying what he had done. Tell them the British were sending bands of Indians to attack our men, and that they're big meanies with coal for hearts, and that they made me cry like a little girl. Wait, no, that makes me sound weak. They made me cry like a big girl. Yeah. That's it. When the president received Harney's new letters, his anxiety only grew stronger. Oh, crap. Hey, General Scott, please make this go away. Leave it to me, sir. General Winfield Scott was the commanding general of the entire U.S. Army. Well known for his negotiation skills, he was a veteran of the Mexican-American War, during which time he had had to deal with General Harney's idiocy and insubordination. And he watched as Harney got away with it all, thanks to his friends in high places. It's safe to say that Scott really did not like General Harney. By now,
Polk has been known as one of like the big Manifest Destiny gets written all over James K. Polk as president during the Mexican-American War. Andrew Jackson expanding more and moving Native Americans, of course, that then American settlers would go into. So this is just like the whole era summed up right here of American expansionism, the first half of the 19th century.
it's safe to say that Scott really did not like General Harney. By now, General Scott was racked with gout, and he was so big he had to be hoisted onto his ship in a basket. Nevertheless, he began the long journey to the Pacific Northwest. Okay, everyone, get over here. Will somebody please tell me what the heck is going on? I'll tell you, General. It all started on one fateful day last summer. Spuddy?
Gonna be a different story.
All right, you damn dirty pig. That's the final straw. What? Hey, you can't get away from me! Look
This is
at
a
that
different
pig.
story.
Nowhere left to run, eh? I'm gonna enjoy this.
Lyman, if you spare my life, I grant you 3 wishes.
Evil.
So you see, General, the pig wasn't even on his property when he shot it. Liar! He's lying to you, General. I'll tell you what really happened. What a pleasant summer's afternoon here on my humble farm. It's just me and my beloved potatoes. I'm so happy. Say, Lyman, them some nice spuds you got there.
geez.
Would be a shame if somebody ate them. No, not again, you beast! Leave my potatoes alone! Yeah, I'm gonna eat them, Lyman. I'll eat them, and then I'm gonna eat you. Stay back! I'll shoot! Go ahead, punk. Make my day. Shoot me! Shoot me! He made me do it! He made me do it! So you're telling me you guys nearly started a war with the strongest naval power in the world over the shooting of a pig? Yeah, now he's starting to get it. Not
sure,
only the pig,
sure.
sir. The British then threatened to arrest this poor, pure American soul. Thank you, General. Shut up. I don't care about you. Okay, I've made up my mind. You're an idiot. 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 You guys are fine. And you two are the most mind-numbingly brain-dead ding-dongs I've ever encountered in all my life, and I'll see you in my office. Okay, Harney, listen. I cut a deal with the Brits. Here's how it's gonna be. Both sides will maintain a small force on the island for a joint military occupation until our two governments can decide who owns the island. Now, the only way they'd agree to that is if Pickett is removed from command, so I'm replacing him with Captain Hunt here. Now, Harney, listen to me. Do not, under any circumstances, put Pickett back on that island, okay? I mean it, Harney. Do not order Pickett back onto the island. Understood? Yes, sir. Good. I'll see you, Glubos, later.
I wonder what'll happen.
Is he gone? I think so. Good. Hunt, you're fired. Pickett, you're
Oh,
going back on
gosh.
the island. All right, you psychopath. I've been waiting years for this. I hate you. I've always hated you. Harney had not only
That was
ordered Pickett back
frightening.
onto the island, but his
was
department
frightening.
even notified the British that it did not recognize the joint occupation settlement,
Get wrecked.
while everyone else had decided on peace. Harney appeared to still be threatening war.
Get
Needless
him
to say,
out of there.
A furious Winfield Scott soon removed him from command and sent him elsewhere. In Harney's absence, the joint occupation went ahead, and the troops actually got along together quite well. The British attended 4th of July celebrations at the American camp, while the Americans visited the British for Queen Victoria's birthday. Even Pickett became good friends with his British counterpart. War,
Okay.
it seemed, had been avoided,
They all
thanks
did the
largely
worm.
to the level-headed actions of the Royal Navy and General Winfield Scott. Of course,
Thank you,
the
Britain.
islands were still in dispute, and the question of who exactly owned them still had to be answered. That answer would have to wait, because while San Juan was at peace, the nation was
Civil
tearing
War.
itself apart. When Civil War broke out in 1861, the issue of San Juan
Definitely
just
watched their
wasn't that
series
important.
on that.
Harney, despite being a Southerner, remained in the U.S. Army, but was eventually removed from command at St. Louis when his loyalty to the Union came under suspicion. More famously, Captain Pickett, a native Virginian, went on to become a Confederate general. Pickett's charge at the Battle of Gettysburg remains one of the most famous moments of the entire war and marked a major turning point. U.S. relations with Britain actually soured during the war. The British, missing their supply of southern cotton, initially looked like they may intervene on the side of the Confederacy. There was the Trent effect.
Not a lot of people
when-
know that. Not a lot of people know that. I mean, the South had always gotten better, along better with the British than the North. I mean, look at where much of the revolutionary action was happening back in the American Revolution. But yeah, the Britain has a huge textile industry, right? It's what the whole Industrial Revolution was built upon. And they don't produce their own cotton, so they get them from, whether it was the colonial era or the independent era from the United States. We're getting them from places like the U.S. So that was economically vital for them, and it was in the best interest of the British to keep the Southerners happy that way.
Confederate diplomats were discovered and arrested on a British mail steamer. And then there were the British-built ships sold to the Confederacy that wreaked havoc on northern commerce. When the Civil War ended, furious American politicians called on the British to pay reparations. And by now, a long list of hot issues existed between them. And yes, on that list remained, 12 years later, still the issue of who owned these gosh darn islands. That issue, it was finally agreed, would be submitted to international arbitration. The Empire of Germany would decide, with the British and Americans presenting arguments. The American argument was reportedly presented with a little more pizzazz, a little more zing. And in the end, when the Germans made their decision, they awarded the San Juan Islands to the United States. When an aging Douglas heard the news, he said that there was no possible way the British argument had been presented correctly.
Yeah, I mean, because I was, you're thinking like, it still seemed like the British had a more legitimate claim, at least to part of the islands, at least just San Juan Island. I don't know about maybe the other islands, but I mean, is finders keepers or first one there? Does that hold any weight? Right? So yeah, it's like, did the British just, their delegation suck when they proposed their evidence to this British delegation?
That was that. The British conceded. And on the 25th of November, 1872, the last British troops left the island.
Better make it
As
worth
the
it.
Americans entered the British camp to raise their flag, they found that the British had removed the flagpole. One last up yours to Uncle Sam.
Get your own
By
pole.
this time, Charles Griffin had already left the island, and the Hudson's Bay Company eventually sold their sheep farm. And so, there you have it. A dangerous situation that almost brought two great powers to war, triggered by the shooting of a pig. But thanks to more level-headed minds and an eagerness for peace and cooperation, conflict was avoided, and the only casualty of this pig war was, well, just a pig. But how different could things have been? What if the British had attempted to
I will
arrest
salute
Pickett?
that pig.
What if they had landed troops?
For sure.
Could the two sides have actually gone to war?
Another war of
Could
1812.
America have invaded Canada? Could it, perhaps, still invade Canada? Think about it. Why not? We have the manpower.
Oh,
We
no.
have the arms.
This was all propaganda, right? This was all propaganda the whole time from Oversimplified. They want to take over Canada. War of 1812 2.0. Let's go.
It's our manifest destiny. Picture a future where American mounties
America's
wear
not
red,
over
white,
it.
and blue and hail the stars and stripes. Where Wayne Gretzky would wave the American flag every 4th of July in the streets of Montreal. Maple syrup, the greatest American food. Banff, the greatest American national park. One united nation under the leadership of our glorious president, Drake. No longer shall we tolerate our smug
Drake.
neighbors to the north with their affordable insulin and endless comments complaining that I don't talk about Canada enough in my videos. That's
Canada,
right,
you got your
Canadians.
you got it.
Watch your backs. Sleep with one eye open tonight. Because Biden's coming, baby. And this time, he's coming with a vengeance!
Look out, Canada. All right, another great story told by Oversimplified. That was great. There was so much more detail to that story than I knew about the Oregon Country conflict and all that. And these little things in history where these things that, I mean, was there any chance that was going to turn into like this massive war? I mean, no, come on, right? Couldn't be that over those little islands. But nevertheless, the cooler heads, I guess, prevailed. But that poor pig got killed For what? Land claim of some islands that nobody ever talks about. All right, well, once again, I'll be able to use this awesome Oversimplified in my classroom. If I had more time, if I was, having to do like a long unit, I guess, on the Oregon country thing, this would be great to insert into the classroom because it's a lot of fun. Anyways, I love these. Thanks again for everyone. I know a lot of you came to my channel because of Oversimplified. I mean, Oversimplified was the first reaction-related content I ever put on my channel, and a lot of you came over there. But I also cover a lot of other things. I have some online lessons. I do some live streams and fun stuff like that. So definitely check out some more of the content if you are still here. Because if you're still here, I'm hoping you liked what you saw here. Also, if you're into gaming, I also have a gaming channel that I also do some fun stuff on, some streams, some videos, that kind of thing. There's links to that stuff down below, as well as some links to some other stuff. I run an Instagram and a Twitter where I mostly just post fun history stuff. I also have a Discord server. You can come out and hang out with history-minded people. All right, and with that, see you next time.